Hey Zen fam, it's me. So, we've got to that point of the year where my fellow gaming YouTubers are starting to push out their here comes E3 content. And, traditionally, in years gone by, I have done the very same. Like, what's coming to E3? But I don't know what to do this year. I mean, because although I give big love to all gaming, I am a Sony boy at heart. You know, I do love what PlayStation get up to. That is my system of choice. And there's no Sony this year, which is weird. But then again, understandable, given as Sony don't feel they have enough to make an E3 showing out of. And they're looking to do things a wee bit differently. I mean, they've started doing State of Play and all the rest of it. But there is a separate VR showing as part of this year's E3 presentation. So there's a good chance there'll probably be some PSVR stuff embedded within that. So yeah, and consider that PlayStation has the leading VR unit in the market, I reckon that's a high probability. Obviously, as the last few years, there's no Nintendo, so that's no surprise. I mean, there'll be a Direct, there might be but that'll be about it. I think they might have a small presence on the floor, but they're not doing like a showcase or anything like that. They haven't done that for years. So basically, it's a lot of the big companies, like your Bethesdas and your Ubisofts and stuff, doing their usual shows, except E3. I mean EA on E3. Nah. There's no EA this year. Well, technically no. They are showing during E3 as part of E3, but in a separate building away from the main thing. So it's kind of like they're doing their own event that's coupled to E3. I don't know. Whatever floats your boat, EA. I mean, the Lord knows you do what the hell you want the rest of the time. And the only thing I could see doing any favours for EA this year is the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I mean, we've all seen the crash and burn of Anthem. We've seen how horrible they've treated the Star Wars franchise. It's endless sports. And there's only so much they can do with Unraveled. And I don't know anybody that's played it. Any of them. It's like we never really saw much of, what was it? That little game with the wee rodent running around. V or Va, whatever it was. I forget how you say it, but it was like a Nordic word. So yeah, we'll see what we see from EA, but I'm not holding my breath. It's like, there's nothing really there to tickle my fancy as far as EA is concerned. But I will still watch, because I watch all of E3. I take time off work for it. Of course, the main part of it is Microsoft. Microsoft still have their show, so they'll be there going, ha ha! And they'll be showing off the third-party exclusives that aren't big enough to have their own booths. So, they'll be having things like your Cyberpunk 2077, which may have hands-on. Because apparently a lot of work's been done there, and apparently there's been a lot of changes since the E3 demo last year. Let's see, Outer Worlds, might see that. Whether that'll be playable is another thing altogether. I think that game's a good distance out. Obviously they'll have things like Gears 5, Ori and the Will o' the Wisp, I think it's called this time around, the new one. Or is it Will of the Wisp? I think I'm thinking of a kids show from when I was little. Halo Infinite. Is Skull and Bones Microsoft exclusive? I know that's like more really version of like Sea of Thieves. Obviously they'll have Borderlands, but Borderlands is cross-party, so yeah, that's cross-system. As far as we're talking cross-system, I mean we'll have things like let's see, Doom Eternal. Ultimately, that's going to come under Bethesda, so we'll see what Bethesda do this year. So I'll talk about them a bit later. Let's see. So other third parties, we're probably talking. There was that game that was a bit like Skate last year. What was it? Session. Yeah, that should prove interesting to see if that's actually cut together, because that was like a wee indie title, but it did look really solid. I remember Ollie43 playing a bit of it, and that was PC at the time. So if it comes to console and it's gotten a bit sharpened up, that could be good. Admittedly, I was always more a Tony Hawk guy, but we're talking Tony Hawk back in the day, not what Tony Hawk has become in latter years, which has been not so good. Let's see, Control. That looks good. I mean, that's sort of like that successor to that one that came out on Xbox near the beginning, the one with the lad who played Iceman in the recent X-Men movies. Not the recent ones, the older ones. Him. Forget the name of it. That's terrible. I forgot the name of the game, but it's Xbox. I'm not really an Xbox guy. No hate for Xbox, just don't always remember everything they do. Let's see. What else is there? Oh yeah, there's like Star Wars Fallen Order. I think I mentioned that already. Gears 5, Outer Worlds. I'm sure there's something I'm missing. But yeah, as I was talking about other companies, obviously we're looking at Bethesda. Now Bethesda have got some ground to make up, because they've lost a lot of goodwill from the gaming public with their shenanigans this year alone with Fallout 76. And the rather disappointing and messed up way that they decided to try and do that mobile Elder Scrolls game. That was just like, yeah, here's a bunch of loot to buy. It's like, yeah, that didn't work, did it? But they've got Doom Eternal coming, and last time Doom, when Doom came out, oh my giddy Jesus. It's like, I loved Doom. Doom was such fun. It was visceral, and it was fast, and it was splody. It was just family bucket of fun. I loved it. Yeah, so I don't know what else is coming from Bethesda, but I think they've obviously got ground to make up. And if I'm right, I think there's some sort of anniversary for Bethesda coming up. And this is going to be like their 5th E3, I think, since they started doing their own presentation at E3, thinking they were big enough to do that. So yeah, we'll see what they do. It's really going to be something new for Bethesda, because they're on the back foot. Whether or not they'll admit it, that's another issue. But considering Tom Howard usually does tend to take the mic out of himself, we could be on solid ground. Hopefully they turn it around and go, hey, we made a mess of it, here's what we're doing. If they do that, then they're looking good for E3, and things should be lovely. And of course, one of my favourite third parties, the one I'll mention last, because, well, that's just what I'm doing, Ubisoft. Now, a lot of people give Ubisoft some serious stick. Know me, I actually quite like Ubisoft. I have had a number of Ubisoft games, and I've had some great times with a lot of their software, including their VR software. I mean, I've got Bridge Command, and I've got like Eagle Flight, and those are brilliant games. I love Eagle Flight, it's so chill. Scraw! But yeah, so like this year we're definitely looking forward to seeing like Beyond Good and Evil 2. I don't think we're going to get anything playable, but I think we're going to get a deeper dive into it, get a proper look at it, see sort of not so much gameplay, but like, you know, when you get like gameplay recorded from the devs, you know, not gameplay recorded by the likes of you and me, or even the likes of like some guy from IGN or Kotaku playing it. Be like, you know, very much canned footage, which may be a bit aspirational, but there you go. And then of course we'll probably get like some updates on things like trials, and you know, probably get some updates and future lookings at Division 2, which I still love the Division. As you can see from this video, I mean, I'm putting Division 2 gameplay and I'm still playing Division 2. While I'm playing everything else, I'm trying to run through at the same time. It's like, too many games. Yeah, there'll probably be bits of this and bits of that. They'll talk some stuff about Ghost Recon Wildlands, no doubt. Maybe some sort of expansion. They'll probably have another title for Nintendo, because I remember they did that last year. That was it last year or the year before? The one with it was Mario Rabbids or something, I think it was. That was like, that exploded. So they could do something like that again. Possibly a sequel. Who's to say? Of course, everyone's talking about the idea of there being a Watch Dogs 3. And I really like the Watch Dogs games. I love the first one. I couldn't stand Ada Beers, but the game was brilliant. Then Watch Dogs 2 was a really, really lovely game. I really enjoyed that. The story was much better. Marcus was a much better character, although there was still some of the same sort of flaws in how the characters were written. Often it's the case in these games where the side characters are more interesting than your character. I mean, Reg, there was a lot going on with Reg. If you listen to a lot of the sort of side stuff, Reg was actually quite an interesting guy. But yeah, it was a good game, and I'd like to see it expanded upon. Of course, everybody's saying, oh, it's going to be set in London. I'm like, not London. Please, God, not London. Does everything that ever gets set on this side of the Atlantic have to be in London? Really? Does it? I mean, I know that I've made videos where I've said that I'd like some games made here in Edinburgh. I mean, last summer I made that game about how we could have a Grand Theft Auto Edinburgh. That'd be brilliant, and how I would like to play the Edinburgh stuff in Forza, because that just looks awesome. But yeah, it doesn't have to be Edinburgh or Glasgow. It doesn't even have to be a Scottish city, but can it just not be London? London gets enough exposure. You know, it could be like Liverpool or Manchester or Cardiff. You know, but there are cities other than London, and there are cities other than London that have heavy amounts of tech industry. And by the way, Edinburgh is very, very techy. Okay, there's a number of game devs in this city alone. I mean, Edinburgh's a commerce city and a culture city, and it's twisty, twiny, windy, you know, and over and under, and interesting streets, and you know, the buildings for parkour, just like hello. So yeah, I doubt very much though. Well, speaking of parkour, that we'll get another Assassin's Creed, because Assassin's Creed has got that year off mode to be working, and that's been going really well for them. But I would say, if there is going to be another Assassin's Creed, then by God, please bring it back to the Brotherhood and Abstergo thing, because as great as I'm sure that Odyssey is, and I'm sure it is because it built upon what the fantasticness was of Odyssey, I just can't get down with that. I like the Assassin's Creed story. I like the stories told to me about the Assassins and the Templars or Abstergo. I need to see more of that. Okay, now maybe not like uber old, you know, maybe like a little bit on from Victoria, maybe like an Assassin's Creed set in the 70s. You know, set it again in the UK, but this time maybe move it north, or maybe even set it somewhere unexpected. Like maybe South America. Finding some Mayan relics or something that lead to maybe like a backup to the Apple of Eden or something. Like the first one's sort of SCSI drive, if you will. It's going to be something you're going to go, what's a SCSI drive? Anyway, so that's what I'm thinking about this year's E3. I am uncertain what to think of it. I think obviously there'll be some interesting things coming out of it. We'll have to see how many Teamsters leak bits from it. But all in all, as always, I'm looking forward to it. Book the time off work. And yeah, as anything interesting happens over it, I should hopefully be able to give you impressions videos along the way. And yeah. Oh, before I go, I've recently taken a little jump up in the subscriber count. So to those new people that have come along in the last sort of week or so, hello and welcome to the Zen Bloke channel. Welcome to the Zen fam. Please also remember that I Twitter, I Twitch, I have a Redbubble, I have an Instagram, a Snapchat, and a PlayStation community, the Zen Bloke channels and stuff. So if any of that interests you, you're more than welcome to soak up that content as well. Anyway, as always, please remember to rate, favourite, comment, share, and subscribe. Of course, as always, I nae bother.